Welcome to Martini Time. It's been a beautiful day here in Blackstone, the center of the world. But then you too are the center of the world. So I'll take a little sip from my chicken martini. And today, I picked up one of my mini books on Joseph Campbell. And this little series here, now I know it's backwards, but it was $11.99. It's called The Pathways to Bliss. And so I've been rereading these again, as I often do. You can tell, like you look through here, all of the marks you see, and all of the little writings, and these are over in the tabs. You see, so maybe I've read this 3 or 4 times over the years. And when I go back, I always discover something new. So I'm not too adventurous in my readings anymore, where I buy new authors and new books. I've got so many, but I find that my adventure is going back to my familiar places and rereading them again. And it's kind of like going to your pond and seeing it with maybe a little different change of light. I remember reading in the story of Winston Churchill. In his retirement, he had a pond, and he painted it over and over and over again, and each time he was different. So each time when you go back to your root teachings, the teachings that really resonate with you, it's like going to a pond and seeing it for the first time again. Seeing it for the first time. Because life is impermanent. Life is changing. So it's always for the first time. It's always for the first time. So when you go back to your root teachings, the ones that stir your heart and awaken your mind, read them again. Read them again, and you go between the lines, and they reveal themselves to you again. So I just wanted to share one thing with Joseph Campbell in this particular book on Pathways to Bliss, where he's talking about the mythologies, and this was so simple. And it kind of fits into what we've been talking about the last few days concerning Shiva and Jesus and Kuan Yin and these gods or statues or mythic beings, as portals, as gateways, going to the same hub, the same center of your own heart, each a different spoke, going to you as the center. So anyway, these Campbell was talking about the 3 fundamental mythologies of humanity. There's another, but just these first 3 because, they're so common. And there's primitive mythology. Now, primitive mythology are the myths and rituals of primitive man, hunting man, the hunter, the rituals and myths of the hunter, and he said that in primitive mythologies were all about the affirmation of life. Now, life, when we first encounter it, when man first encountered it, was becoming conscious. Imagine this now. Animals are not conscious of this. They just do life. But humans became conscious that life lives on the death of life. All life lives on life. We eat life, and life is going to eat us. We're going to be eaten. And of course, in primitive society, you were getting eaten. You could be tonight's dinner for the lion or the cave bear or whatever, or the leopard, you see. So death was everywhere. But they affirmed life. And so their mythologies were affirmation of this horror. The affirmation of the horror of death, you see. And so So there was no negation, no turning away. And it was also tribal consciousness. The tribal consciousness meant there was no individuality. You are the tribe is you. And all of the myths took you at puberty, you were a little kid, and so when you reached puberty, you were snatched out of your childhood and were indoctrinated into the consciousness of the tribe through some bloody ritual full of pain. Puberty rituals were painful, cutting away. The child left childhood and became an adult and became a functioning, spontaneous member of the tribe. There was no doubt on what to do. You spontaneously did what the tribe. This reminds me of Submarines. Oh, I digress. So Submarines, when I was in Submarines were a tribe in the sense that you had to qualify to get dolphins by learning every function, every valve, every system on the submarine. These were diesel electric submarines. You had to learn everything. So no matter where you were on that boat, if something happened, you would know spontaneously you would know which valve to turn. You didn't have much time. You didn't have any time to get out the manual. Oh, which should I turn, this or that? No. The whole tribe depended upon your spontaneous functioning as the whole boat, as the whole tribe. Then, of course, you would go back to your specialty. I was a sonarman or a torpedoman or engineman or whatever. But your primary identity was that of the whole tribe, you see. Then you had a specialty. And this is the way mankind has always operated. On the surface fleet, you were fragmented into your specialty and you had no knowledge of the rest of the ship. You had a specialty, and that's all you knew. You didn't know what to do in the rest of the ship if something happened. You just knew your compartment, your little job, you see. I didn't like that. So I think I'm trying to give the impression of the mythology that indoctrinates you into the tribe, which was a primitive mythology, ritualized mythology of the hunting tribes. And but then Campbell points out around 1000 BC, some 800 BC, there was a turning point. Suddenly society got to the point where there was leisure. You had crops, planting societies, you had wealth. And there was a turning away from the yes to life, from the horror of life, you see. A turning away from death, eating life, you see. And saying, no, I want to get out of here. I want to go to eternal peace. I want to get out of this life eating life, this death and death and death, this whole cycle. I want to go to heaven. I want to go and free my soul and become at peace and escape the karma and rebirth and the horror of it, you see. I want to escape that. So this monastic traditions were developed, and Campbell points out that the Jain religion, which was contemporary to Buddhist, was the first really negation of life. Now the Jain monk and the Jains still exist in India around Bombay, and they wear a mask, and the monks, and they have a broom, so they're always sweeping the walk so they don't step on a bug. And they have a mask so they won't breathe a bug. And they don't eat live fruit. The fruit has to fall from the tree. You can't pluck it from the tree. And you can't, there's this absurd care in preventing of killing. So it's a total ahimsa, total non-violent religion, which is a negation of life. I'm just not I can't kill anything. And if I kill one thing, you see, everything is reincarnating. So all of these little ants and everything are life. And if I kill one, I won't be going up anymore. I'll start going back down. So it's kind of like the soda pop bubble with all these bubbles going up. If I kill anything, accidentally or intentionally, my bubble will start going back down, and I'll reincarnate at a lower animal form. You see, I might become an ant again. You see, so I got to keep going up. So, and I don't want to move because I'll kill something if I move. So the Jain saints actually ritually stop moving until they're just perfectly. They've negated life. They've negated desire. They have extracted themselves from life while they're in life. Now, Buddha thought this was a little absurd. But it's the example of the negation. And if you're a vegetarian, you might trace yourself back to the Jains. And a vegetarian, I don't want to eat. I don't want to kill. You see, I want to extract myself from the horror of life, the killing and the bloodthirst. The Kali, the Indian Hindu god Kali with the red tongue hanging out of her mouth, the blood coming, skulls. The mala is not, it's skulls around her neck. She gives birth to life and then eats it. Death and life, the eternal horror of it, you see. And oddly enough, even Buddha, when he, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha prince, the prince to be the Buddha, when he left his pleasure palace and went out into the village, he saw old age, sickness, and death. The horror of it. The horror of getting old, dying, decay, losing your teeth, your powers, leaves falling from the tree, death, dying, and decay. And so he saw a monk. He says, who is that monk? And he's going to get free from this life, the horror of life, you see. So Buddha said, oh, that's for me. So he went into the forest to try it out. And for 7 years, he tried out all the life-negating systems of yoga. Yoga was originally a life-negating, a monastic extraction, you see. And so Buddha went through all that and found it not the answer. However, early Buddhism was a life-negating philosophy in that you had to, if you wanted to be a monk and become enlightened, if you wanted to be enlightened, you had to become a monk and withdraw from the world. Say no to the world, you see. And so the third, now this was what's so interesting to me, the third mythic formulation of humanity, if we recall now, the first one was saying yes to life. It's kind of like American hedonism, where you just say any impulse you got, oh yes, I love it. Yeah, I say yes to it all, you see. I live fast, die young, have a good-looking corpse. You see. So that's the complete affirmation, like there's a light switch with only on. Now the turning away from that is having a light switch with only off. So you got either everything is on or everything is off. So then Zoroastrianism, which was a mythology and a teaching that in a religion that was born in ancient Persia, and Zoroastrianism, Zoroaster conceived of a world as a cosmic war between the God of light and the God of darkness, light and dark, good and evil, a cosmic war. All of the world was involved in this yin-yang, you see. And so man's duty was to be a son of light, and his job was to participate in the defeat of the Lord of darkness and come to an eventual triumph of light over darkness in the future sometime. And so this, of course, became the Western religions. But the point is, putting it in this simple light thing, is that the first, the primitive response to life was affirmation, blood and guts, give me that blood running down, killing Vikings. You don't want to meet a Viking because they don't give a shit. Or the civilized person. Oh no, I don't want that. You see, I'm civilized. See. So these two, the yes and the no, on or off. And the third one is having a variable light switch. When we have one in my dining room. There's an on-off switch, and then there's a little knob, and you can turn the light up slowly. So this mythology of Zoroaster provided a way out of the light switch that was totally on or totally off, because now you can turn up the light, and you just affirm, you just say yes to what you agree with. But I don't agree with that, so I say no. But that, yes, I agree to that. I affirm that. So when the world is like you and gets in alignment with you, you say, oh yes, I affirm that, but I don't like that. So you turn the light up so you get more light, more affirmation, more things going your way, going my way. You turn up the light, oh yes, there's still a little pockets of darkness there, but we'll get rid of that. You see, it's the promised land. We'll get rid of those liberals, or we'll get rid of those Republicans, or we'll get rid of those immigrants, or whatever. You see, we'll turn up the light, and get rid of that darkness. So that's kind of like to me, it's kind of like splitting, it comes up with a solution to the problem of being all on or all off. You see, variable. It's it's the variable thing, you see. Okay, so those are the three that basically shape humanity. The transcendent way, which is the practice, the non-dual traditions, or the mystic Christianity, or Buddhism. See, Buddhism left around, and I meant the other night, around the time of Christ, which is already 500 years old, gave birth to the Mahayana, or the big fairy. The monastic way was Theravada Buddhism, which was the little fairy. Only the monks went. Only the monks went to the other shore. In the big ferry, everybody can go. You get on the big ferry, you go to the other shore, and then you come back. And then you come back because there is no other shore. So now you participate joyously in the Sara of the world. You have joyous participation in the Sara of the world. Now this is the Bodhisattva of Kuan Yin. And it is also the joyous the way of seeing Christ as Christ triumphant. The Christ triumphant is that he joyfully participates in the Sara of the crucifixion of life. He goes willingly to Sara. He goes willingly to the Hara. He goes willingly to life as death, to life as life eating life. He goes willingly to it. He embraces it joyously. Not, oh, I don't want to go. You see, there's a joyous embrace. And to me, this is the fourth mythology, which is the return to life and its hara with an acceptance. And of course, now all of this gets into a very psychological point of view, and I'm going to have to end where we are now. But I just wanted to point out those first three mythological postures, which I find very interesting because they're all going on at the same time. You have people who just gobble up life and can't say no to anything, and then you have people that say no to everything, who are superior. Who no, you see. And then you have people who are servants of the God of light and want to eliminate darkness. And so they're on a social mission or a religious mission to make the world light again, to restore the world, to restore the lost garden, to restore the Garden of Eden, or get to the promised land by turning up the light, you see, and getting rid of the darkness and being on the good side. And only affirming the good side, only affirming their tribe, their tribe, you see. All these other tribes, out of there, you see. So anyway, I just find mythology, particularly as explained to me by Joseph Campbell, as a most enlightening way to see myself in the world and to see why the world is like it is and why people are like they are. Because it helps me understand the patterns that we don't see. So anyway, thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.